What's up, guys? It's your girl Hashira, and now it's time for part 2 of drawing Dumb Denki. For the sake of recap, this is our reference picture, and this is what we have so far. We've done the base sketch and the outlining, and we've poofed up the little thunderbolt in his hair. You can do the frame of this however you want. I'm personally going to be doing it in black Sharpie. There we go, just like that. It does not have to be perfect. Mine clearly isn't. Little tip, if you don't want any bleed through from the markers, put a piece of cardboard underneath. You can see there's been plenty of bleed through, but it's all been caught on the cardboard. So there's your pro tip for the day. If you want to use markers, these are the 5 color markers that I recommend using. We have a teal, yellow, pink, red, and gray. Starting off teal, we have these little strips on the sides of his shirt. I want to color both strips just like that. Here we go. Now cast that teal aside. It's time for red. For red, we just have his tie. So we're just going to color that in red, just like this. Moving on to pink, we're just going to color the lower half of his mouth like that. That way you have the inside of his mouth, but you leave room for his teeth. We're going to color in these little dots right here with the yellow. Now personally, my yellow marker is a little bit dried out, so I'm not going to be using it for hair. For the hair, I'm going to be using a yellow pencil. I'm using a Prismacolor, but it's perfectly fine if you want to use Crayola, Crazy Art, or whatever color pencil or marker you personally have. Little tip to keep your pencil sharper for longer is, so you know how you generally tend to go like that, you get a flat side, right? Rotate the pencil so that you're going on the pointed side, and just keep rotating it so that when you do get the point down, you're going to have a lot more done. Little tip that I learned from a different YouTube video. There we go. Now that's all yellow. Time to add the shading. I'm going to want a nice light brown pencil for this. All you gotta do is add a little bit of shading to certain areas, like this area. That's how you shade that. You're going to want to shade all of this around here, so just like that. See, I have this area outlined right there. Put it in nicely, just like that. These 2 areas outlined, you're going to want to color those in, just like that. These little triangle areas right here are his under area of hair, just like that. We're going to want to color both of those in like that. There we go, so the hair is nice and shaded. Remember guys, it doesn't have to be just like mine as long as you're having fun and you're happy with your results. Remember how I said we needed this gray marker? Time to show you why. You're going to want to do a little bit of shading on the eyes, just the tops, to give it a little bit more of a 3D feel. You're also going to want to do some shading under here, right there, there, here, here, there, a little bit back there, and just kind of follow the hairline like that. That way it gives a little bit more of a 3D vibe. Hashira, what's the big deal about shading? Well, it gives it a more of a, well, animated vibe. If it's not shaded, then it looks kind of staticky, and it doesn't really look that much lifelike. I mean, obviously this isn't very lifelike, but it still makes it look a little bit nicer. Moving on to the skin, I have the beautiful, wonderful Crayola Colors of the World Skin Pencil Pack. For the base shade, I'm going to be using light medium almond, and for the lowlights and shadows, I'm going to be using medium almond. Let's roll. Shading is always first. You're going to want to shade with the hairline to give it the illusion of a shadow against his head. So like that for that piece of hair. You're going to want to roll like that for this piece of hair. Little bit of a triangle point up there. A little bit of a shade down here. That'll be good for his face. Here on the neck, you're going to want to kind of follow a triangle pattern downward. And you're going to want to shade that in all the way up to the jawbone, but not any higher. Just like that. You're going to want to follow up with the hair pieces. Just color that part in entirely right there. Maybe a little bit right there. That should be good with your shading. If you want to add a darker tone, you can. Adding a third darker tone with medium deep almond. just a little bit more where it's going to be darker area. So just right there would be a darker area. Next to the hair would be a darker area. Right up close to the hair would be a dark area. So just like that. And there's your face shading. Now we return with our base shade. You're just going to want to color in the rest of that. And just don't color in the eyes or parts of the teeth or the shirt, obviously. Just like so. And if you have a little bit of leftover pencil in the eyes, it's okay. You can shade it in with whiteout, a white gel pen, white paint marker, whatever you can find. Like that. I used a white poster marker, which is basically just a paint marker, only a little bit cheaper. What's left for you to do is your backdrop. You can make this any color you want. You can even make it a pattern. For Kaminari, I like to do really bright yellow because it kind of gives it like electricity vibes. You just gotta color that in to your heart's content. Make sure you don't smear any of the other stuff. And there you have it. It's pretty easy. Fun fact, Kaminari is Japanese for lightning. Bet you didn't know that unless you were learning Japanese, which I am, not to flex. It's actually really hard because there are 3 alphabets and one word can have like 40 meanings. And like, for instance, the color gray, there are at least 2 words for it. There are 2 words for the number 4. There are 2 words for the number 7. There's more than 1 word for multiple different numbers. And if you get them mixed up, it can either mean death or just randomly sushi for some reason. And there's all the culture and the grammar, and there are certain words in Japanese that don't have an English translation. They're like topic markers. Like wa is basically just like introducing the topic. It doesn't actually have an English translation. It's just like, this is what we're going to talk about. And that's basically it. And you have to say it in the right order, otherwise you can be saying something entirely wrong. So that's super fun about Japanese. Another thing is that A and O in hiragana look very similar. So there you have your backdrop. It's gotta dry a little bit so it looks a little bit off. Sorry. And there you have it. Now we just sign it. I personally put my watermark because obviously I want people to know who I am. There we go. There you have it. Denki Kaminari.